this is our spoiler section. We're gonna get into spoilers. We're gonna get into, like, you know, all of the minutia of the Snyder cut. All right. I'll start with the things I didn't like. Okay, so here are some of the things I didn't like about the movie. First off, just let's get this out of the way right now. This aspect ratio, which, you know, watching it on my television, I expected that when the movie started, I would have full use of both the left and the right sides of my screen, like that the movie would be like I would see the whole movie, right? So what it is a box. What it is an aspect ratio of you know, what's crazy is that when it says that, there's a message prior to seeing the movie, and it flashes on the screen that the aspect ratio was as is intended, like how the director intended the movie to be seen. And I saw it and I'm like, man, okay, you know what? Let me just like focus on what's in the box. Like, you could be like, well, that's the symbolism for the mother box, since the mother box is a square. And that's all you're seeing is like the past, the present, and the future, all of like human space-time and all of the multiverse in the dimension. Just like that, like, woof, like that, because I'm so used to having the big screen. Okay, that's one thing I didn't like, okay? Another thing that I didn't like was there were some scenes in the movie that I felt could have been shorter. Like one or two things, like, and it's really petty stuff, you know, but it's still stuff that, like, come on, like, you could have cut that part. Like, there's a scene where there's like Batman, he's standing on like a rooftop, he's about to meet Commissioner Gordon, and Batman does a jump, and it's kind of a ridiculous because it's a jump from like a roof to another roof below, and it's such a short distance that it's kind of ridiculous when Batman does it. I mean, you show him jump, and the way when he lands, it's like, it's like that. It's like the rest of the movie. Bon appetit! The rest of the movie was like a 5-star dish, you know. The whole thing, you know, starting off with the death of Superman, which picks up right after we see that in Dawn of Justice. And we see the death of Superman, and then it's crazy because, like, Superman lets out a yell when he dies, and it's this yell that precipitates, that causes the chain reaction that we're gonna see in the movie, where we see an invasion of Earth by Steppenwolf and these you know, kind of like demonic looking aliens that are bent on human genocide and the enslavement of the planet. You know, of course, the defenders of Earth that also hear the screams. There's no defender of Earth now. There are no lanterns. There are no Kryptonians. So now Steppenwolf knows that since he fell out of grace from Darkseid, which is a backstory that I really appreciated on the villain side, was going to be remedied by the invasion of Earth and the search for the mother boxes. Now, what I love about the Snyder Cut is it delves into the mythology and the mysticism and the wonder of the backstories of each of these individuals, and it fleshes out the villains, okay? It fleshes out Steppenwolf's motivations. Okay, the first one did that. I mean, I'm not going to refer to it as the first one anymore. I'm going to refer to it as Joss Whedon. The Joss Cut, or whatever. The Joss Cut ignored all of that stuff. The Joss Cut brought like about maybe 5% of what Snyder was trying to do. Okay, this version of Snyder, it's more graphic, it's more violent, you know, there's more blood, there's more profanity, more language. Like, this is an R-rated movie, you know, and of course Warner Brothers, this movie is more graphic in tone. It's a different tone. It's a darker, more grittier. But Snyder's version, that's more for like us adult fans, us mature fans, because of course there is violence, there's language, there's blood. Really, you see the full ramifications of Superman's death. And the fact that Luthor, right, and there are many people that don't like Jesse Eisenberg as Luthor, but you know, I happen to like him. I think he does a good job as Luthor. I mean, it's the young Lex Luthor, you know, and he's developing, you know. And if they had given Zack, you know, the chance, if the studio had trusted in Zack, then it would have panned out much better. But you know, it's their IP. They have different, you know, ideas of what it should look like. I'm just saying that Joss's is more like maybe to the family-friendly version of it, and Snyder is to like the real hardcore, like you're seeing shades of Injustice, you know, you're seeing shades of like, so like Superman, yeah, he's a big threat if anything goes wrong with Lois, and that's Injustice right there. They're not gonna make a movie with Superman being bad and killing everybody and stuff like that. That's just not gonna happen, okay? But you have, I guess, an alternate realm of fiction that can depict that. So that's why we have the comic books, and that's why we have the Snyder Cut, right? So big up to the fans for all of you making this possible. This is a different kind of movie theater going experience if it was debuted in movie theaters, that would allow the audiences to stand up and leave the theater. But now, you know, in the world we're living in now, you just can't, you know, go into a theater and then stand up and, you know, with what we have now, with the conditions that are happening now in the world. But you could, you know, if it wasn't for that, of course, you could release a 4-hour movie. Why not? I mean, Scorsese released The Irishman. The Irishman was 4 hours. Many people complain about the length of the movie. Okay, but you have to understand that this is not something that's gonna happen again. This is a spectacle. Not all movies have to be 2 hours. Some movies can be longer. Some movies could be shorter. A movie could be actually an hour as well. It doesn't have to be, in my opinion, it doesn't have to set to a certain standard. But a movie can't be 10 hours either. You understand? So, okay, you have a 4-hour movie that was originally supposed to be split, of course, into 2 movies, Justice League Part 1 and Justice League Part 2. Now, the original Donner cut of Superman, we know that Superman 1 and 2 were actually supposed to be as one movie. That's why when you see Superman 2, there's such a tight continuity to the first Superman, because it was all as one movie. You see? And so this is the same thing with Snyder. So he's setting up Darkseid, Apocalypse, and of course the Apocalypse War, okay? Because we see through the movie, as the movie is moving forward after Superman's death, and the collection of the Justice League by different different members of the Justice League by Bruce Wayne, after he's hacked Lex Luthor's computers, okay, in, of course, Dawn of Justice. He's hacked those computers. So now Bruce knows what Luthor knows. Luthor knows there's metahumans and the metahuman thesis, right? So now Bruce knows that, and he's on a mission to collect all of the members of the Justice League. But having fought by Diana's side in Dawn of Justice, he knows that Diana is a ready ally. Of course, after the death of Superman, we see the appearance of Steppenwolf in his journey to collect the mother boxes to totally dominate Earth and signal the appearance of Darkseid as the Herald, right? That will enslave Earth and turn its human populace to parademons, slaves of Darkseid, to enslave another Earth. So we see that the Mother Box collection is of course that the Atlanteans have one, the Amazonians have one, and the humans have one. But of course, after the death of Superman, there's a crack in one of the Mother Boxes in the Amazonian base. And of course, that means that the Mother Box is calling out to a new force, right? Since it's a crack. And that evil is awakened again. Since Earth was the first battleground for the first battle in which Darkseid had wanted to conquer that planet, since Earth has the anti-life equation. Now listen to me, people. There's a lot of detail that goes into that, right? But they're hardcore comic book heads that know all about that stuff. And, you know, obviously Zach is like, I'm making this for the hardcore fans. I'm making this for, like, people that, like, know. Like, you could still watch it and understand it. But even if he's dropping this stuff, hardcore fans are like, anti-life equation. Yes, it makes sense, right? Superman died, it's time to conquer Earth, basically is what the whole thing is. And when, of course, Steppenwolf lands, you know, even the appearance of Steppenwolf, it's not the same as the Whedon cut, right? As the Joss cut, I'll call it Whedon cut. It's not the same. Like, if you see the 2017 version, when Steppenwolf, like, teleports down to the Amazons, it's not anywhere nearly as remotely scary as in the Snyder cut. When you see Steppenwolf teleport down, his voice is modulated, so it sounds like a darker, more alien, more demonic sounding voice, which is more intimidating. And even his whole look is more intimidating. It's like, wow, this Steppenwolf guy is scary. He's a real threat to everything that's happening. He's a threat to Earth. He's a threat to the League. He's a threat to the whole shebang. Like, this guy is like a Thanos. Like, I'm scared, you know, like he's like a really like he's really a brute. Like, even the way he talks, it's like, it's so, like, it's modulated his voice to such a degree that it sounds distorted and demonic, you know, which is great. I love it. He attains the first mother box. The Amazons send out a signal, right? Diana sees it, meets up with Bruce, begins telling Bruce the story of the mother boxes, and of course Earth's first battle with Earth's mightiest heroes. And then she says the age of heroes will never come again, and she begins to tell Bruce the story of the mother boxes and Earth's invasion. And that whole monologue that Diana has is amazing. You see the whole battle. You see Zeus. You see like this thing is like 300 part 2. Like, it's crazy. It's like Bon Appetit. You know, just like excellent. Man, the way Steppenwolf came out and battled the Amazons, and you see like even in that first thing, like all of the Amazons jumping on top of Steppenwolf, and he's surrounded by like 10 Amazons all on his body. These Amazon women, like, really Snyder focuses on these Amazon women, you know, and really displays the strength of Amazon women in this scene. Like, the Amazon women are really a focus. We're not talking about Batman anymore or any of these other League members. He's focusing on the women of the Amazonian race. Look, you know, they look so badass. They look way better. Like they're there and they're strong to attack. So it's like when Steppenwolf lands, he's thinking this Earth is gonna fall just like the others. He's like, well, show me fear. Amazon's like, there's no fear. And then you see Diana in this scene where she's saving London, which is totally different from how it was cut in the Whedon one, where you see the full power of Wonder Woman, as has the blood of the old gods. And when she hits somebody, you know, it's not like they take a punch, like they fly into like walls. You know, Diana is like hitting people, and like these terrorists that take over, like, I think this bank or whatever in London, and Diana needs to say, like, is like, what, you know, trying to like stop this stuff from happening, trying to save London in this scene against these terrorists who have a bomb. And it's like she goes through these guys like nothing. like nothing. Like, she slaps one guy and like he goes into like the wall, and like the back of his head like hits the wall. You see his brain, like his back of his head crack open, and like blood everywhere. Like, and Diana is just like bam, 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 like that. people flying into walls, and like men flying into walls and blocking bullets and doing all of that crazy stuff. And I was like, wow, what? Joss Whedon cut all of that out. Of course, there was that time when she hit one of the bad guys, right? She's fighting these bad guys and she's really tearing them apart. I was like, God. And then like the guy's gonna shoot, he's gonna shoot the hostages, right? There's that one terrorist that's gonna shoot the hostages. And Diana, you know, of course she blocks all the bullets like nothing. And then, you know, the line that she delivers is different. The guy says, I don't believe it, what are you? And in the 2017, she says, I'm a believer. And then in this one, in the Snyder cut, the guy says, oh, I don't believe it. And then she says, believe it. You know? And then she goes like this, and then blows the guy out of the freaking building. Okay? And then she goes to the hostages. And then, you know, she's trying to calm them down. None of that's in the other one. You know, and she calms them down. She sees a little girl who's kind of still shaken up by all of this. And she reassures her that everything's going to be fine. You can be whatever you want to be. Great message. None of that in the other ones. Where Diana saves London, it's one of like, in the Snyder cut, you really see Diana's full powers like on display. And, you know, the way she fights, the way she moves. And, you know, I didn't see that in Wonder Woman 84, you know, so it was a real treat. As we're moving along, right, and we're seeing the collection of the League, we see, of course, Cyborg. We see, of course, the Mother Box. Cyborg is in charge of one of the Mother Boxes because of his father, Silas, who works at Star Labs, which, you know, at the site of the Kryptonian ship when it landed, Star Labs definitely had a part to play. Cyborg was the key. And the fact that WB cut that, it shows that they don't know what they're doing. It shows the fact that they cut Cyborg, who was the key piece. If it wasn't for Cyborg, there would be no end. Earth would be destroyed. Ray Fisher's character was so critical, and I can see now why Ray Fisher was so upset at Joss Whedon, because Joss cut out all of Cyborg, man. Cyborg was key. Cyborg was key. And I've been wanting a Cyborg film for the longest time, and they never delivered. They can deliver 30 Batman movies, but not one Cyborg movie. Or a Green Lantern movie. Or a Lobo movie. Or a Booster Gold movie. Or an Atom movie. They have to make 30 Batman movies. Not even Martian Manhunter, who is a League member, who is in the Justice League Snyder Cut. But let me tell you something, man. Canon or not, the fans know, okay? The fans know what time it is. The fans know, man. And the fans, God bless the fans, because without any of the fans, it would not have happened. It would not have happened, guys. It's the truth. It's the fans who petitioned and gathered all around the world, who came together to said, we want the original cut, man. Cyborg. Without Cyborg, you wouldn't have the Mother Boxes separated. And let me tell you something, when Cyborg, you know, when you see Cyborg's backstory and how he was in Gotham University and he was on the football team and he hacked into like the grades to help his friends get a better grade, and you know, you see the development of Cyborg from start to finish. You have a Cyborg movie, and I've always wanted a Cyborg movie from DC, and DC never gave me a Cyborg movie, but Zack Snyder gave me a Cyborg movie. Okay, Zack didn't write this movie. He directed it. Chris Terrio. Chris, you did an amazing script. Well, the story was developed with Chris and Zack together, but Chris wrote it. Cyborg, you know, like that amazing scene where like you see like you know, okay, you see the accident, okay, you see Cyborg and him converge with a Mother Box alien technology to develop Cyborg, but how, you know, when Cyborg gets a hold of Silas's recorder and presses it, and you see, you know, Silas, you know, talking to Victor about his powers, like what Victor can do. That whole thing was just amazing. Like, that's character building, that's world building, that's, you know, a study of the human condition, on the fact that the challenge will not be to do these things that you can do, it'll be not to do them. The fact that this guy is plugged into virtually every network on the planet and can topple financial systems and monetary systems at the blink of an eye, because he's tapped into everything. He's tapped into the whole network. Like the way, like, he gave that family that money, like the way he saw that woman's life, like, you know, those are moments that Snyder needs to show, you know, and those are human moments. And that was fully developed. I really love that. I really love that Flash was not relegated to just, you know, comedic relief. Flash in this movie fights. Flash in this movie is an active member of the League, is an active participant, offers ideas, offers helpful hints, you know, offers solutions, offers, you know, he fights. He's active in the battle because you've developed him, because you've given him his backstory. The hot dog moment, yeah, there was a bit of comedy from him, but he wasn't really like the big comic relief, because he was doing stuff in the movie. He was fighting, he was moving, he was being the Flash, what the Flash always does. There was one moment though that when the Flash, there was people falling and the Flash was, you know, catching them and rescuing them, that the Flash actually missed one person, and I think Cyborg caught him, and I was like a little bit like, the Flash missed one person? The Flash missing that one person, I was like, oh, okay. The Flash can bend time, of course, because of multiverse of the Speed Force. He can run back and change the course of the future, change the course of the past, which you saw as soon as the mother box was dropping into the alien Kryptonian ship, how the Flash, like, the box was in the water, and how the Flash approached it, then the box rose up a little bit. Bruce, I still like Bruce. Bruce is great. Ben Affleck, of course. Man, Bruce. He did good as Bruce. He does good as Batman. Okay, Batman, Bruce, fine by me. I like the suit. This is an older Bruce Wayne. You could tell he has white on the sides of his hair, so he's older. I liked it. I liked Aquaman's development. Aquaman, of course, Arthur was developed. Diana, you know, as soon as she gets the message from her sisters, she goes, of course, to discover what this signal represents. And there's where she sees the hieroglyphics and the message of Darkseid, which is the conqueror of worlds. And that was great. Well, of course, you know, when Superman comes back, but I really like the fact that they cut out a lot of that stuff in the beginning with Batman. Like, you know, there were things that the Whedon cut had, like in the beginning with that robber, and of course at the end with a family who lives there, and Flash saves a family or whatever, that were really ridiculous and really stupid, and that's not in the movie. And the fact that when you see Henry Cavill's Superman say, "Oh, you can't let me live, you can't let me die, do you bleed?" And then you know, and then you see Batman on the floor and he's like, "Something is bleeding, all right." None of that is in this one. You know, when you see Superman come back and you see him come back in the black suit, it's just like, you know, and Superman fighting the League. It was mostly the same. That was the same. But like that little final piece where he's like, "Oh, you can't let me live, you can't let me die," and you see the bad CGI on Henry Cavill's face. That is thankfully not in the movie, because that's not how Zack wanted it to be. And oh, do you bleed and all of that nonsense? It's not in here. Okay. I really liked Superman's black suit. I really liked how in the League, how they snuck into Star Labs. That was cool. They snuck into Star Labs, and you see that as they're bringing Superman's body onto the remains of the Kryptonian ship. You see that the ship interacts. It knows that the body of Superman is there, Kal-El, because you see that different suits are coming out, right? You see different suits coming out of the ship, so it's interacting. And then he has the black suit. That's the suit that he had in the comic books after he came back after fighting Darkseid and after fighting Doomsday and of course dying. When he came back in the comics, he came back like that in the black suit. So that's adherent to the comics. And then at the moment, you see that Superman is still trying to discover who he is, trying to remember, like, you know, he wants to know why the League brought him back. But what's good about it is that he takes time for family. So like each character really has their moment to shine in this movie, and each character has their backstory. You're not, you know, it's not gonna be like how the first Avengers was with Hawkeye, which was remedied a little bit in Avengers 2. But you see each member of the League here has their own cut of the movie. To me, the main person being Cyborg, as a Cyborg origin story, and of course as a whole arc for Cyborg that was completed so beautifully in this cut. Yeah, Superman coming back was a big one. The fact that they decided to attack for the last mother box and to separate them from, of course, Steppenwolf, and of course Steppenwolf's communication with Darkseid via Desaad, and Darkseid coming, and oh, how could I forget? As soon the decision to revive Superman using the mother box was something that in the Whedon cut was made very, very like fast, but in this movie, in Zack's cut, they actually talk more about it. All of them have a say in it. They discuss it before doing it, right? They discussed it in the other one, but not like this. Like in this one, it was like a really like in-depth discussion of it. And they're like, is this right? Is this wrong? What we're gonna do? Like properties of the mother box. What does it do? It's a change engine. The fact that, you know, as soon as it was going to happen, where the Kryptonian ship didn't have enough energy to power the box, Flash offered to power it, and in the moment that Flash is going to do that, you see Cyborg have a vision of the future. And I love the fact that the Kryptonian alien ship speaks, which is a detail that the other one doesn't have. Like, this Kryptonian ship is alive. It's actually a living thing that speaks, advanced AI that, of course, Cyborg communicates with, and it's saying that this is a bad idea. Don't do this. The mother box is hostile. Do not awaken this. Like, the Kryptonian ship already knows this is a hostile force. This action cannot be undone. It was kind of like that conflict wasn't available in the other movie, and that conflict between the ship and Cyborg and the League and Batman is just like, do it, do it, do it, do it, you know, ignoring all of the Kryptonian warnings. Cyborg has the Nightmare vision, and you see in that, like, you see Injustice, you see like the Hall of Justice fall, you see you know, visions that are not keeping with, of course, what WB with the studio would put out. You see Darkseid, you see Diana die, right? You see the Amazonians having a funeral for Diana. She's died. They have the of course the coins over her eyes for the ferryman. You see Darkseid impale Aquaman against the stone slab and use his laser vision to decapitate multiple Atlanteans. You see the fall of the Hall of Justice and Superman with the cowl of Batman, or what looks like Batman's head. Of course, Superman is evil. Lois has died, and you see that Darkseid using Superman as a tool for destruction. And it's like, that's cool. That's comic stuff. That's, you know, You know, that's injustice. And then it's crazy because then Superman comes, they fight. Of course, Superman has his time with his farm, and Superman visits Alfred. And the way Alfred is done in here is great as well. Like Alfred is not, you know, Alfred is a mechanic of sorts. He's also an inventor. He's you know, he's a smith. He's a tradesman. Like Alfred has a lot of skills, and you know, this movie just it brings it out more. You know, because of course all of those scenes weren't there before. You know, you see the Nightmare. He comes out, and then so the League decides just to go to separate the mother boxes without Superman, because Bruce knows that Superman will eventually meet them there or whatever. So after they resurrect Superman, they go to get the box, because now that box that was used for Superman was taken by Steppenwolf, but Silas, Victor's dad, sacrifices himself to defend the mother box, and also put a kind of like a little tracking beacon to allow the League to be able to track the box. The League knows where the box is. They go in there, they fight the parademons. A lot of great fighting, a lot of great cuts. You see Flash, he's fighting as well. And then you see, of course, Cyborg. They get into the chamber of where Steppenwolf is. And then they're trying to separate the boxes, and the League comes full force. Diana's in there, she's fighting everybody. Everyone's fighting. It's a grand old throwdown, right? Until like Steppenwolf comes in and says enough is enough, and tries to prevent Victor from separating the boxes. The Flash now has run so far around the battlefield that he's built up enough charge to connect with Victor and separate the boxes. Even though Diana has told Victor that doing this will kill him, Victor's like, if he doesn't do this, whole planet is gonna die. So the fact that, you know, he's willing to make that sacrifice play was very impressive. And Superman, he beats him down. The whole League fights. A portal opens. They fight. Like, all of the League fight together to defeat Steppenwolf. Like, each one hits Steppenwolf. Like, that's how I wanted the Avengers to beat Thanos. I wanted each Avenger to punch Thanos in the head. Hulk punch him in the head, everybody, and it doesn't happen. But in this movie, it happens. And in the Whedon version, it's only Superman that's doing the butt kicking or the ass kicking. It's only Superman that's fighting Steppenwolf. In this one, at the end, each one takes a turn hitting Steppenwolf, and Diana has the final killing blow when, you know, Superman even, like, he's waiting on him. He's like punching him and punching him and punching him and punching him. And as Cyborg is trying to separate the boxes, it's too late because a parademon shot the Flash, injured him, and now Flash doesn't have that energy to give to Victor to separate the boxes. So now, as they're like beating up Steppenwolf, Superman uses his laser eyes and cuts a piece of Steppenwolf's head off, cuts a piece of his horn. Then, you know, they fight, they toss him around. All of the League gets at least one hit off of him or whatever, except Cyborg, who's pulling apart the boxes. And then Diana delivers a final killing blow, decapitating Steppenwolf and sending him into the, of course, the apocalypse world dimension, because there's a portal that opens up, and you see that Darkseid has been watching it his whole time, and Darkseid sees the whole League, right? And you see finally that, of course, Victor pulls apart the 3 mother boxes. In the original movie, it was Superman helped and they pulled it apart. But in this movie, Victor actually goes inside the mother boxes, see that the mother boxes have taken the shape of his family, to try to convince him not to pull it apart. And that's when Victor says, "I'm not alone," and separates all of them. It's Victor who saves the day. It's Cyborg. Cyborg saved the whole day. Cyborg saved the whole planet, right? With that, and then you see in the portal, of course, Darkseid seeing all of this and being very disappointed that this conquest is not going to happen. And that's when the portal closes and Desaad tells Darkseid, "Look, this is the human, this world it cannot be conquered. It's too, like, how are you, you know," Desaad tells Darkseid, "How are you going to claim your prize now? Because there's anti-life on this world. There's the anti-life equation." and Darkseid says, ready the Armada, we'll use the old ways, and we're gonna invade. So that's Zack setting up, of course, the next Justice League, which we see pieces of Darkseid's invasion in, of course, the Nightmare World, which is great. Like, I could watch a whole movie based on the Nightmare World. But, you know, after that's done and Zack does the epilogue, we see that, of course, Cyborg has closure with his father. We see that, you know, after the event, after they save the world and pull apart the mother boxes and stop the invasion and, of course, defeat Steppenwolf, and there's going to be no more alien invasion, we see that, you know, in the original movie, the parademons are the ones who killed Steppenwolf. In this movie, the Justice League kills Steppenwolf. Totally different endings. But anyway, we flash forward into the future, and we see that the League is a little bit older now. A little bit older, of course, because the formation of the Justice League with a table and the room for 6, but chairs for more Justice League members. And we see kind of like Zack take like a page of Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, and you see Batman standing on his, of course, Bat Tank, which is the Batmobile, which is a Bat Tank, and you see a group of criminals tied up there. That's straight out of the pages of the Frank Miller book, The Dark Knight. You know, like, I'm like, wow, because so it's like some time has passed after the League has saved the world, so we catch up with our heroes much later on, and it's like a little bit older. You know, to me, I feel like Diana's also a little bit older. Like, everyone's gotten a little bit older, and then you see, of course, everything with Cyborg and the closure, that was beautifully done with the Flash. Oh, guys, and the Flashpoint paradox. Talk about how cool was that Flash gave the League a second chance, because the portal was opening for Darkseid to enter because of the mother boxes, right? Because Flash failed. So Flash did what Flash does best, and he runs into the Speed Force. With, like, he has an injured leg, so he starts like run. That like brings to me so many memories of the Flashpoint paradox and the DC's animated timeline, and how like Zack, you know, that stuff like that. See, this is why I like the Snyder cut is so much more superior. Like, he does that, and he runs into the Speed Force, and he gives the League the second chance to do what they did to save the world. But Flash now has a job, of course. Barry, you know, he has a criminal justice, so now he's going to be working with the police department. So all of the League storylines, every character now is a full character arc, right? A full story arc, and everything is settled. But you see, like, toward the end, after, of course, Cyborg and everything like that, that you see the Nightmare World now. Now there's a Nightmare World, and you're thinking, holy snap, like, what's happened? Has Darkseid invaded? And indeed, you see that Darkseid is invaded, because you see the symbol of the Omega, and you see the Darkseid, and you see Batman come out, say it's clear, and you see the Justice League is like, oh, you see Cyborg, he's older, it's like in the future, and Cyborg is very older now, like everyone's like older, and you see a team, because you don't have Diana anymore, right? And you don't have Aquaman. So the team that you have is Mira, Deathstroke, Batman, Cyborg, the Flash, and the last member of this unholy Justice League, the Joker. You have 6 members. This is the new Justice League in the future, right? You have the Joker, who they have all teamed up now, because they have no choice, because now it is the world has ended, and it's so amazing. That alternate reality, it's a nightmare. Bruce Wayne awakens from it, but you know, Bruce Wayne has another nightmare at the end of the movie. He wakes up, but man, how amazing was that? Like, this is where Joss wanted to set the next 2 movies, right? Or the next movie, of course, the Justice League would be Justice League fighting Darkseid in Scorched Earth, and it was amazing. Mira's like, oh, he's gonna pay, you know, for what he did to Arthur, because you remember in Cyborg's vision, Arthur died. So it's continuing that nightmare, that, you know, second story of the nightmare, right? So, you know, and then you see Deathstroke there. Deathstroke looks so badass. Joe Manganiello, who needed his own movie as Deathstroke, and you know, WB, I don't know what you're doing, man. You guys are messing up right there with Ben Affleck and Joe Manganiello, and you see Joe there with Ben. You see, even before that, because I'm skipping, is that you see Luthor on the boat talking to Deathstroke and telling Deathstroke that Batman is really Bruce Wayne. It was just so amazing, guys, to see all of that. A little bit of the Legion of Doom. Yeah, guys, I loved it. It was great. And then, you know, the movie didn't end there. The last favorite part after the nightmare, of course, was when Bruce wakes up and he gets a visit from Martian Manhunter, who previously visited Lois Lane as of course, Clark's mother, to give hope to Lois. But Martian Manhunter, and you know, that whole interaction at the end with Bruce Wayne and Martian saying, you know, he's been looking on and seeing that, you know, he really has to get into the fight too, because the fight is not over. Darkseid will come, right? And that whole thing was great. So guys, you know, thanks for watching. Thanks for letting me ramble on as much as I did on this. Like, I'm very passionate about this fandom. Well, guys, yeah, and that's it. And so, you know, I love the movie. I give it a I give it a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. I don't care. Like, the movie to me was a masterpiece, flawless. This is a movie that I'm gonna continue to revisit next year and the years coming, and just like this will be one I watch, you know, and it's like, this is one that it's for the ages. Like, the next time they'll make a Justice League movie, who knows when that'll be, with the same cast, with the same actors, with the same sort of energy and the direction and the action and the story and Darkseid and everything. But yeah, one for the ages. Big congrats to everybody who was involved. It's a party. And you know, it's just great when the fans, you know, big shout out to the fans. Actually, the fans really made all of this happen. So guys, that was my take on it. It's been OC from Bamcomixs, wishing you and yours a happy, safe, and awesome week. Make sure to follow us on our Facebook at Bamcomixs, on our Instagram at Bamcomixs, and also, if you like the video, make sure to give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe, make sure to hit those notifications, smash those notifications for updates. This has been OC from Bamcomixs, and I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Peace. How could you not talk about the Green Lanterns? Green Lanterns, man. When's the last time they made a Green Lantern movie? That horrible one with Ryan Reynolds who shoots himself in Deadpool 2 because the Green Lantern was so bad. Zach even gave us lanterns.